Under the Affordable Care Act, everyone is supposed to have insurance. That's not the case for thousands in the Gem State. It's an issue an Idaho doctor says can be fixed. A new reason for Sergeant Bo Bergdahl leaving his post in Afghanistan has surfaced. It has some believing he didn't really desert. The state geography bee took place in Rexburg today, an event some say shows the need for more academic recognition in the state. Local News 8 at 5 starts right now.
You're watching Local News 8 at 5. Local people, local news.
Good evening, everyone. The 2015 legislative session will soon come to an end, but lawmakers have yet to come up with a solution to the Medicaid expansion question. Local News 8's Chelsea Brensel spoke to a doctor about this today. Chelsea, what'd you find?
Well, Jay, 78,000 Idahoans are not covered by health insurance right now. This is the gap of people who do not qualify for Medicaid and can't afford health insurance through the state. Dr. Ted Epperly says people who fall under this category will get coverage, however, it won't happen this year.
Yeah, there's a lot of politics with this. It's perceived as Obamacare. It's perceived as the federal government's intrusion on states' rights in terms of what states should or should not do. And so many of the legislature are very resistant to that. They don't want to be told what to do. They want to be engaged in a process in which they're part of the solution and not mandated to do things.
Coming up at 6, we'll tell you the 3-step process that Epperly says could transform the Gem State's healthcare system. In the studio, I'm Chelsea Brensel.
Thanks, Chelsea. Well, a beautiful day in the weather. First Alert Chief Meteorologist Michael Coates joining me now. And how hot do we get today, Michael?
We got to around 70 for Idaho Falls, just checking here at the weather station at our local studio. And the airport may be a little bit more, but we've been seeing temperatures here upper 60s, lower 70s. In fact, we're going to be probably hitting our peak now in the next few minutes with this warm air still coming through. But the biggest hitch in the forecast here for tomorrow, it's the wind that's going to come in. We have a cold front that's going to march across the region here for tomorrow. We already have a wind advisory posted for your Saturday, and this also includes the Magic Valley and into the southern counties there, especially around Oneida, Power, and Cassia County. Gusts 40 to 50 miles an hour. Right now in Idaho Falls, we're at 70 at the airport and 70 also here at our station. Winds out of the south-southwest at 16 miles an hour. We go to Pocatello, we're seeing also lower 70s at this hour. 73 at the Gate City, 71 in Blackfoot, upper 60s right now in Rexburg, upper 50s in around Jackson, and into the mid-70s for Burley at 75. Also the same for Twin. Boise also getting into the 75 mark. Winds have picked up a little bit. We're going to see more wind here for tonight. I'll talk more about that in your full forecast in just a few minutes. Jay.
All right, thank you, Michael. In news from around the world tonight, evidence today that the co-pilot that was at the helm of the Germanwings plane that crashed into the French Alps was hiding a mental illness. ABC's Marcy Gonzalez is following this story for us tonight.
In his homes in Germany, investigators uncovering evidence they say could help explain why co-pilot Andreas Lubitz intentionally crashed Germanwings Flight 9525. Among the clues, a doctor's note excusing the 27-year-old from work the day of the crash. His company never received it. Instead, it was found torn up in a trash can. Prosecutors explaining other documents and prescriptions indicate some kind of ongoing illness and treatment, something they say he hid from his employer.
He was fit for flying without any restrictions.
Investigators are still piecing together what happened in the flight's final 10 minutes when they say Lubitz locked the captain out of the cockpit, then set the plane into autopilot, sending it dropping more than 3,000 feet a minute until it slammed into the French Alps. Now, as crews continue searching the treacherous mountainous scene for the second black box and for victims' remains, nearby, families of some of the 149 innocent people killed mourn together, while the father of one of the 3 Americans killed incredibly extends his sympathy.
I don't feel anger. I'm really sad for the father, the parents of that young pilot. I can't imagine what they're going through right now.
And because of the crash, several foreign airlines, including Lufthansa, are now requiring that 2 people be in the cockpit at all times. That's already the rule for airlines in the U.S. Marcy Gonzalez, ABC News, New York.
Continuing coverage tonight on Sergeant Bo Bergdahl. Tonight we're learning more about why he may have left his post and unit in Afghanistan in 2009, leading to his capture. CNN says it's learned Bergdahl planned to walk to the nearest U.S. military outpost to report wrongdoing, believing he couldn't trust his own commanders to deal with his concerns. A senior defense official told CNN Bergdahl had some leadership issues at his base and wasn't planning to desert. Another official says Bergdahl had problems with order and discipline in his unit. When it comes to the swap that led to Sergeant Bergdahl's release last year, members of Congress want to know more about it. The House Oversight Panel is asking the White House for documents on the move that released 5 members of the Taliban. The president okayed the switch last May. Many lawmakers were angry they didn't get proper notification. Since returning to the States, Bergdahl's story has garnered national attention, including this week's charges relating to him leaving his post. Well, now a local family friend of Bergdahl is opening up about his feelings and thoughts regarding the controversy surrounding Bo. Lauren Johnson sat down with Tim Kemery.
Bo, take heart, set a stout heart to a steep hill, and keep looking up. He knows what that means.
That's Tim Kemery's message to Sergeant Bo Bergdahl. Kemery is a close family friend. His son Ben and Bo were the same age, grew up together, and were best friends.
They were very compassionate, and we had no qualms about having our children over there all the time.
Kemery shares his compassion and love for Bo and Bo's parents, but says he trusts the military's process.
Bo did make a decision. If he did stack his weapons and leave multiple times, he was breaking the law, breaking his oath, time after time, and you have to answer for that.
Kemery's son Ben, Bo's best friend, passed away after a tragic accident, and Tim sees a lot of Ben and Bo.
I know what his mother is probably in quite a bit of anguish for her son. Any of ours would, and I know if it was my own son that I would want the same thing that I want for Bo. We have to send a message to other young would-be soldiers, potential soldiers, that it's absolutely serious. This kind of thing isn't acceptable.
Kemery says he hopes people don't judge Bo or his family too harshly.
You know, being chained and beaten, tortured and kept in the dark, being starved, being made sick, all those things, maybe he suffered enough.
Bergdahl is currently assigned to a desk job at an Army base in Texas. A date for his military hearing to determine if he should be court-martialed hasn't been set. The cowboy state is growing, but very slowly. New Census Bureau estimates show Wyoming's population increased 0.2% between July of 2013 and July of 2014, bringing the state's population to 584,153. After looking at births and deaths, the Bureau estimates nearly 2,200 people left Wyoming, then moved into the state between July 2013 and July 2014. Teton County, Wyoming led the state with the fastest population growth of 2.5% during that same time. Students across the state are putting their geography skills to the test. BYU Idaho hosted this year's State Geography B. 4th through 8th graders were tested on several aspects of geography. Many were asked to name state capitals as well as landmarks from all around the world. Educators say today's competition proves the need for more academic recognition within the state.
We try to treat them like VIPs and make sure they receive this recognition. Just making it to the State B is a great accomplishment. So some may be disappointed they're not the state winner, but it is a big deal, and their families should be proud, the schools, their hometowns.
Tonight at 6, we'll hear from tonight's winner. We'll also hear the final question that stumped the state finalists. Crews in New York are looking for 2 people missing after a massive fire at a New York building. The biggest problem? The rubble is still smoldering. And new developments in the investigation into the Secret Service. Were 2 of its members really drunk when they crashed near the White House? We'll be right back.
Cheryl Honus, Jay Hildebrandt, and First Alert Chief Meteorologist Michael Coates. You're watching Local News 8 at 5. Local people, local news.